Good morning, fourth graders. It is assessment day. We are going to be quick reviewing a little bit of vocabulary. I'm going to go through the directions for the mid-unit 1 assessment, and you are going to get rolling. So let's talk some vocabulary first. Theme. Remember, theme is the message the author wants you to know after reading whatever they wrote. In this case, likely poetry. Summarize means telling it in your own words. Gist. Remember, gist is just a sentence or two telling what it was about. So a gist is like a very short summary. Characteristics of poetry include stanza, which remember is like a paragraph in a poem. It's like a group of lines together. Free verse is a poem without a structure. Repetition means when something is said or written over and over. Rhyme and meter. Rhyme and meter is when words have the same ending sound, and meter is the beat in the poem. Okay. And imagery. Imagery is the mental picture the poem paints for you or things you can hear. So it's the sight, sound, smell, taste, feel words in the poem. Okay. So you might remember Dog by Valerie Worth. So some of the imagery from Dog is the dog's loose skin on his face hanging down, or chomping at a fly. You could hear the chomp and see the fly buzzing by. Okay. And then prose. Remember, prose is like the written sentence form of a poem. Like you and I would speak it to each other. Very easy to understand. So we are going to take our mid-unit assessment today, and I'm going to read you the directions, so follow along. It is a lot of parts, so you need to pay close attention. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do in it's two parts, part 1 and part 2. In part 1, you are going to read Stopping by Woods, which we've already read. You're going to read the poetry version and the prose. And then you're going to answer a few questions and fill out a chart. And in part 2, you're going to read part of Love That Dog and write a summary. Okay. So part 1, you are first going to read the poem or reread the poem. It's in the back of your Love That Dog book behind the poems that Miss Stretchberry used in class. And you can also click on this link and go straight to the poem. So you're going to reread the poem. And then you are going to read this prose version. Okay. And after you read the prose version, you are going to complete this chart that compares the similarities and differences in the prose version of Stopping by Woods and the poetry versions of Stopping by Woods. Then, when you are done, you are going to answer these questions about Stopping by Woods. Look back at that poem if you need help, friends. Okay, so question 2, and you're going to answer question 3. And this one, you just have to tell me, it's 2 parts. Tell me what imagery is and give me an example from the poem of imagery. Okay. All right, part 2, you're going to read pages 25 through 27 of Love That Dog. Okay. And the pages are actually like written in poetry form by Jack. Okay. So I have already written the title, page, and author. It's the Animal Shelter poem by Jack. That's what it's all about, a trip to the animal shelter. And it's pages 25 through 27. Write down some things you notice about stanza. So let's say it had one stanza. You'd write one stanza and you'd tell me about the stanza, right? Maybe it had 4 lines or whatever. And then rhyme and meter. Remember, rhyme, same ending sounds, meter, the beat. Is there any rhyme or meter? No rhyme or meter. What is it? Okay, imagery, pictures it paints. So if it paints a picture in your head, if you can hear things, smell things, see things. And then what are those things? You put them here in the notice. And then in the last one is repetition. Is anything repeated in the Animal Shelter poem, pages 25 through 27 by Jack? And then you're going to finish up by filling in what the theme is. And then 2 details that prove the theme from those pages, just like we've been doing in class, friends. Okay, after you're done with that chart, you are going to write a summary of the poem. It needs to be the same format as you have been using. Excuse me. Okay, so you're going to write the poem, write the summary, and the summary needs to include all the things we've been including in our summaries in class. Okay? You need to give me a good intro sentence with the title, the pages, and the author. There it is right there. Don't worry about telling me it's Love That Dog by Sharon Creech. We already know that. We're talking about the animal shelter part of the poem and is written by Jack. Okay, what is the gist? That's the next sentence. The theme is our next sentence. What is the theme? The message the author wants us to take away after reading. And then our next two sentences are details that prove the theme. You can even incorporate this into it. How Jack uses elements of poetry that we studied, like imagery, structure, rhyme, rhythm, or repetition. And then lastly, give me a good closing sentence to your summary. Your summary should be no less than 5 sentences. Write your summary here. Just type it up. And then turn your work in. Please remember to turn in your work. If you have any questions, ask your teacher. We're not going to give you answers. You need to do this independently. And we've given you as many hints as we can to write your summary, and filling in the graphic organizers is kind of going to be on you. But if you're confused about what to do after watching these directions, please let your teacher know, and we will do the best we can to help you without giving you any answers. We know this is a lot, so take your time and do your best. And tomorrow we will move on to our next lesson in Love That Dog. Happy testing, friends.